A Super Bowl MVP, adored by fans, suddenly facing whispers of rebellion inside his own locker room. Teammates questioning his choices, coaches frustrated, and trade rumors swirling around his star wide receiver. Philadelphia's crown jewel might be unraveling faster than anyone expected. But the real shocker, this could be just the beginning. Subscribe for daily NFL breaking news. The 2025 NFL season ended with a shock that still has Philadelphia fans talking. Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts led the Eagles through a season of high expectations, only to see it crumble in the most unexpected moment. The wildcard playoff game against the 49ers. 43 seconds left on the clock, fourth down, and the entire season hanging by a thread. Fans across the country held their breath, ready to witness either glory or heartbreak. For months, the blame had been pinned on Kevin Patchello, the offensive coordinator at the time. Critics claimed he made a reckless call, a decision that would make the Eagles' offense look frozen, predictable, and completely unable to adapt. But insiders tell a different story. Multiple sources confirmed to ESPN reporters Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler that Hurts himself intervened on the play. When Patchello asked for input, Hurts suggested running 4 verticals, exactly the same play that had failed moments earlier. And though Nick Sirianni, the coach, approved it, what unfolded next shocked everyone. 3 defenders collapsed on Dallas Goedert, and the Eagles' playoff dreams evaporated before the crowd even fully realized it. The whispers in the locker room painted an even more damning picture. One offensive player reportedly admitted in real time, "Oh my God, this is not happening. We can't run 4 verts." This wasn't hindsight. This was panic right there on the field before the snap. Sources claim Hurts' reluctance to adjust, his insistence on personal preferences, and a pattern of resisting new concepts contributed heavily to the offense's rigidity. The team, loaded with talent, couldn't move the ball efficiently, and what many assumed was a single coaching misstep was actually a symptom of deeper issues. Even after a Super Bowl victory the previous year, the cracks didn't disappear, they widened. Coaches and teammates struggled to push Hurts toward change, and his superstar status seemed to shield him from the very accountability the Eagles desperately needed. And what happened on that field in January wasn't just a failed play. It was the first warning that the Eagles' championship shine might be starting to fade. Jalen Hurts isn't just facing criticism from the media. He's facing tension inside his own building. Sources close to the Eagles describe a quarterback who's talented beyond measure but struggles when it comes to coachability. It's not about skill, it's about willingness to adapt. Coaches, teammates, and staff have all reportedly noticed Hurts resisting certain play calls, changing strategies mid-drive, and showing what one insider called poor body language during critical moments. This isn't coming from random pundits or disgruntled fans. Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler, 2 of the NFL's most respected reporters, spoke to more than a dozen sources inside the Eagles organization. And the consensus was clear. Hurts' insistence on doing things his way has caused friction in a franchise built around precision and cohesion. Even routine adjustments that any quarterback might accept without question seem to spark pushback. Some reports claim Hurts hesitates to operate under center more frequently, and he avoids aggressive throws against zone coverage. Play calls get altered on the fly, sometimes at the expense of the team's rhythm. The coaching staff, trying to accommodate his preferences, reportedly feels trapped between keeping their star happy and evolving an offense that desperately needs growth. Numbers back up the concerns. In 2025, Hurts threw for 3,224 yards with 25 touchdowns, a career high, but his QBR ranked just 20th in the league. The offense ranked near the bottom in total passing yards and third down efficiency. Multiple insiders suggest Hurts' resistance to change directly contributed to the stagnation. When new concepts failed even briefly, he would pivot immediately, signaling discomfort or frustration. It wasn't just stubbornness, it became a roadblock to innovation, limiting how far the Eagles could push their playbook. Even during the championship run, his relationship with prior coordinators was tense. Now, with repeated changes at the play caller position, the lack of stability has intensified the scrutiny. Sources say Hurts has had too many yes men around him, and without accountability, these issues festered. And if the team can't find a way to bridge this gap, what looks like a superstar quarterback today could quickly become a lightning rod for internal chaos tomorrow. The tension between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown isn't just speculation. It's a quiet storm brewing in plain sight. Sources inside the Eagles report that the once close relationship between the franchise quarterback and his star wide receiver has eroded completely. What used to be long post-game conversations in the locker room has now been replaced with avoidance and silence. Their teammates, yes, but they're not connecting like they once did, and insiders say it's starting to affect more than just morale. Some fans believe it's a clash of alpha personalities, Both players want to win, but their methods are different. Hers is meticulous, controlling the offense with his own preferences, while Brown is fiery, demanding, and vocal about what he needs to succeed. Early in their time together, they managed to navigate these differences, but as the 2025 season unfolded, cracks widened. The two haven't had a full-blown argument publicly, yet multiple sources report that issues are being internalized rather than discussed. That silence has allowed resentment and frustration to fester in private. The consequences are subtle but significant. Body language on the field hints at disconnect. Cryptic social media posts and sideline behaviors suggest underlying frustration. And while Devon Smith and others can fill gaps, Brown isn't just any receiver, he's one of the team's most dynamic weapons. The lack of chemistry with Hers has reportedly influenced how plays develop, timing between quarterback and receiver, and overall offensive flow. Insiders also hint that trade rumors aren't idle chatter. A first-round offer from New England was reportedly declined, with Eagles management holding out for a first-round plus a second-round pick. This ongoing uncertainty adds another layer of stress for both Hers and Brown. Some sources now view a Brown trade as almost inevitable, which would leave Hers without his top target and force him to shoulder even more responsibility for an already struggling passing game. And if Brown does leave, it won't just be a roster change. It could be the spark that exposes just how fragile the Eagles' star-led offense really is. Inside the Eagles organization, there's a growing perception that the power structure is protecting one player while the rest of the building quietly crumbles. Sources tell ESPN that ownership, Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman, and Jeffrey Lurie, has been reluctant to publicly criticize Jalen Hurts, even as his own teammates express frustration behind closed doors. The disconnect between what the public hears and what insiders know is widening every day. Players describe a late 2025 locker room in disarray. Some sources call it a disaster, pointing directly at Hurts' influence over the offense. Traits that might have been tolerated or even praised before the Super Bowl now appear amplified. His stubbornness, resistance to change, and insulation from criticism have grown worse despite the team's championship run. Winning the Super Bowl didn't solve the problem, it highlighted it. Meanwhile, the messaging from ownership and the media paints a completely different picture. Publicly, Hurts is lauded as exceptional, dedicated, and the key to Philadelphia's future. But behind the scenes, anonymous sources say the quarterback's relationships with teammates are strained, his game management sometimes rigid, and his personal preferences limit offensive growth. The tension between the public praise and internal criticism is fueling frustration across the roster. This disconnect isn't just a PR problem, it's a functional one. Coaches reportedly walk on eggshells trying to navigate Hurts' preferences while keeping the team intact. Analysts debate whether the issues are personality-driven, systemic, or simply the result of miscommunication. Fans see highlights and championships, but inside the building, the narrative is far messier. The timing of the leaks also raises questions. Releasing this report during league meetings with executives and agents in the same building wasn't accidental. Someone in Philadelphia clearly wanted this information circulating. And the Eagles' silence throughout the story speaks volumes. Denial would have been easier if the organization didn't fear the truth coming out. And with the draft just weeks away and whispers of trades in the air, the question is whether the Eagles' power struggle will impact the season. It's how much longer the cracks can stay hidden before the whole system starts to fracture. The Philadelphia Eagles just hired Sean Mannion as their new offensive coordinator, and the stakes couldn't be higher. At only 33, he's stepping into his first role as an NFL offensive coordinator, tasked with transforming an offense that has been defined by inconsistency and frustration for years. The plan: implement a system inspired by Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, leaning heavily on under-center play action and pre-snap motion. Two approaches that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles actively avoided under Nick Sirianni. Hurts' career has been marked by instability. Since entering the league in 2020, he's had 6 different play callers. Every single year, a new offensive coordinator. That level of turnover frustrates any quarterback, and Hurts is no exception. His one exception came under Shane Steichen when consecutive years with the same play caller produced MVP-level numbers and a Super Bowl appearance. The correlation is clear: stability breeds success, disruption breeds frustration. Even now, sources tell ESPN that Hurts is as open as he's ever been to making changes under Mannion's system. But openness doesn't erase the past. The quarterback is entering what many insiders are calling a prove-it year. With A.J. Brown potentially headed to New England, the Eagles are asking Hurts to carry a passing game that just lost its top weapon. Devon Smith is promising, but the team needs more than a promising second option if they want to climb out of the bottom 5 in passing yards. Hurts' contract complicates matters further. Signed to a 5-year, $255 million deal in 2023, there's little guaranteed money left after 2026. Extension talks are non-existent and the clock is ticking. If the offense doesn't improve, if anonymous leaks continue, if team chemistry falters, 2026 could mark the beginning of the end for Hers in Philadelphia. The pressure is undeniable. Super Bowl MVP one year, fighting for credibility the next. Hers' talent is unquestioned, three-time Pro Bowler, franchise leader, and the man who dragged Philadelphia to heights they hadn't seen in decades. But talent alone can't fix instability, fractured relationships, or a rotating carousel of play callers. Success requires adaptation, patience, and most importantly, alignment with a coaching staff ready to guide, not just accommodate, a superstar quarterback. And as the Eagles roll out a new offensive system and the draft looms, one question hangs over Lincoln Financial Field. Will Hers rise to the challenge, or will years of instability finally catch up to a quarterback once untouchable? Jalen Hurs' 2026 season isn't just another year, it's the ultimate test. He's coming off a Super Bowl MVP season, but the narrative inside the Eagles building is shifting fast. Sources say that while Hers has been open to change under new offensive coordinator Sean Mannion, openness alone won't erase the doubts or the mounting pressure. Every misstep, every stalled drive, every predictable play is under the microscope now. The quarterback's contract adds another layer of intensity. Hers signed a 5-year, $255 million deal in 2023, but there's minimal guaranteed money left after this season. There are no signs of a new extension being negotiated, and insiders confirm that discussions haven't even started. In other words, 2026 is not just a prove-it year, it could very well define his future in Philadelphia. If he fails to adapt or elevate the offense, the franchise may have no choice but to reconsider his long-term role. Adding to the stakes, the Eagles could lose A.J. Brown, their top receiving weapon. Reports suggest the Patriots are interested, and while Howie Roseman has pushed for a first-round pick with a second-round sweetener, the eventual trade seems almost inevitable. Losing Brown doesn't just weaken the passing attack, it puts Hers under an even harsher spotlight. He'll need to carry a passing game ranked near the bottom of the league, relying on Devon Smith and other supporting options to step up. Stability, or the lack of it, continues to haunt Hers. He's entering his 6th year in the league and has already had 6 different offensive coordinators. That instability has limited his growth, according to insiders, making this the first season in years where he truly has a chance to work under a consistent system. Sean Mannion's scheme requires adaptability, trust, and collaboration, but the quarterback must also prove that he can balance his preferences with the demands of a dynamic, evolving offense. The pressure extends beyond statistics. Anonymous sources describe a locker room still struggling with chemistry, with whispers about Hers' leadership and communication style resurfacing. The disconnect between ownership's public praise and the building's private concerns magnifies the tension. Every throw, every decision, every sideline interaction is being scrutinized. By the end of 2026, the Eagles' front office, coaches, and fans will know the truth. Can Jalen Hurs rise above the chaos and lead, or will a year of high expectations expose cracks in a quarterback once untouchable? The clock is ticking and the stakes couldn't be higher. The Philadelphia Eagles are standing at a crossroads, and Jalen Hurs is at the center of it all. Winning a Super Bowl just 14 months ago should have solidified his legacy, but inside the building, cracks have begun to show. Sources describe a locker room frustrated by a quarterback who, despite incredible talent, sometimes resists coaching and leans heavily on personal preferences. What was once seen as confidence now raises questions about flexibility and leadership. Ownership publicly hails Hers as exceptional and dedicated, but anonymous insiders paint a more complicated picture. They describe an offense calcified by predictability, a top receiver frustrated and potentially on the move, and a coaching staff walking on eggshells, trying to balance praise with quiet correction. That disconnect between the public narrative and the behind-the-scenes reality is creating tension at every level of the organization. Then there's the pressure of new systems. Sean Mannion arrives as offensive coordinator with a fresh vision, a Shanahan-style, under-the-center, motion-heavy offense designed to challenge defenses and elevate the passing game. Hers has the opportunity to reinvent the offense, but after 6 coordinators in as many years, trust and adaptability will be critical. His success will require a balance of leadership, openness, and execution, everything a Super Bowl MVP should command, yet everything insiders are still watching closely. The stakes go beyond excess and O's. A.J. Brown, the franchise's top weapon, may soon be gone. Losing him would leave Hers to carry an offense that struggled through 2025, making every throw and every decision under even more scrutiny. Meanwhile, Devon Smith and others will need to step up, and Hers must lead in ways that go beyond pure athleticism. Contractual pressure also looms large. Minimal guaranteed money remains after this season, and no extension talks have been publicly confirmed. 2026 is, in essence, a prove-it year, an inflection point for Hers' future in Philadelphia. If the offense fails to improve or leaks continue from within, the front office may rethink their long-term commitment. At this moment, the Eagles franchise is a test of patience, leadership, and accountability. Hers' talent is undeniable, but raw skill isn't enough to quiet whispers of dysfunction or lead a fractured locker room. How he responds under pressure, how he adapts to new systems, and how he rebuilds chemistry with teammates will define not just a season, but his career trajectory. The question isn't just whether Jalen Hurs can win again, it's whether he can survive the politics, personalities, and expectations that now surround him. 2026 will reveal if a Super Bowl MVP remains untouchable or if the Philadelphia Eagles are preparing for a new era without him. The countdown has already begun.